Annie, Gus, hey, congratulations for giving birth to a butterfly.
Thank you.
I know, just the title by itself knows what kind of journey that we are going to go on when we watch this film. So, but we always have to ask is what initially drew you to this project? Annie?
I think for me, like I was really attracted to it as a journey of two women. I was also really attracted to it as like an exploration of the complexities of motherhood. I feel like Ted, in a really subtle way, addresses like the ways in which like family life can be unsatisfying, and at the same time, like it didn't feel like a condemnation of family life or like something dark, but just like that that it's complicated, that it can involve like some sense of loss. And I was interested in both of those subjects.
Wow. Gus?
I I totally agree with her, and I also think I liked reading it. That I think I thought I knew what each character was, and as the story went on, they were much more than meets the eye, and kind of very complex. And I also really wanted to do something with my mom. I thought that would be such a special experience, and it was. And every time I watch the film, she breaks my heart more. But yeah, and I also think at the time, I think it was 18 or 19, and feeling kind of lost with just where I wanted to go as I grew up and kind of turned into an adult. And I think very much Maureen feels the same way, just kind of becoming a woman and whatever that means, and also having this burden of starting a life and having a child. And I was not in that place, but no, I very much saw a lot of myself in her. So yeah.
So how did you two read the script? Encountering oddball characters, different characters in this film that we usually don't see on screen. How did you two react to those?
I mean, for me, like I like that. I feel like the more the merrier when it comes to like just any kind of like play or film or anything like that. Like I feel like it's like you want to see a wider variety of life and of humanity represented. And every time I see something or read something where I'm like, whoa, I've never seen that before, I get a little zing of like, ooh, that's exciting. And I definitely had that with this because like you said, there's a lot of people in the film who you're like not used to seeing represented on screen, but who you recognize on some level as like, oh yeah, that is someone that I feel like I know, or I feel like I have an idea of who that person might be, in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I liked how the film really wasn't definable. We were asked before, how would you define this film? Like what category, what genre? And I don't really know. And that's what's really appealing to me about it is it's like this new form of film that I hadn't seen before. And yeah, it was really exciting to me.
So Gus, tell us about the performance against your character's mother in some of those certain scenes. It reminds to a lot of people like the sort of like a conflict of dementia in its own way.
Yeah, it feels so tragic to me. It feels like an old-timey play that was written like years and years ago, because it's just this deep trauma that's sitting there in the room between the two of them that I feel like their storyline could have their own film. But it was so magical working with her. We had done a play together a couple years before that, but we really didn't have any scenes together in the play. So doing this with her and looking over across the room, I mean, acting with someone is a very intimate thing, and acting with your own mother who knows you better than anybody, it's like it was so special. And I think her character is just, I really do feel like she is the heartbeat of the film in some weird way, and this coursing through line of like, oh my gosh, I keep saying tragic, but like how tragic life can become. And yeah, I will never forget doing this film with her.
Most excellent. Now, but I know it's the film is sold as sort of like a bonding trip, road trip, going into the middle of the woods somewhere. Could you talk about the chemistry between you two, and particularly in the car?
I mean, I feel like that one of the first scenes we shot, right? Like, was one of the car scenes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was maybe one of the first days, and I have a driver's license, but I am not. I live in New York City, so I don't often have to drive. So I was really like, oh my God, just don't kill this lovely young actress. And the camera operator and the director on like day 2 of shooting. But I feel like, no, I feel like for me, a lot of the film was about my relationship with Gus, because we spent so much time together, and it was really beautiful. Like I felt like so connected during it. I think somebody said to me at one point, like maybe that we're like the inverse of each other in the film, which I think is true, and actually which felt like uplifting or something. And I know that's kind of maybe like an odd thing to say, because I'm not sure the film is uplifting, but it did feel uplifting to like do it, you know?
Yeah, making a film, it takes hours and hours, and then both this, but like you spent so much time with somebody, and we were in this car in this confined space for I think the film was shot maybe in a month's time, I don't remember, but half of that was Annie and I just together constantly, and and rarely do you get so connected with someone, and I just felt like she's just the sweetest person in the world. So it was such a pleasure to spend 2 weeks nonstop together in a car.
I will say too, because it was shot on film, because Ted shot on 16 millimeter, like a lot of the time that we were together was like waiting time, because it's like, okay, you have to they have to get it all set up like perfectly. And then we really only have a couple takes, because it's like, we just cannot waste film in the way that you might feel more comfortable doing like 10 or 15 takes on high def or something. So a lot of the time was like us like in a chair in like a stranger's house, or like on a lawn under a tree waiting for the car to be, but so it was delightful. It was a really great experience.
So when Ted filmed this on 16 millimeter, and you finally saw the film, because we don't see that type of format very often, what was your reaction?
I mean, I was like, oh, film is so beautiful. It is just so luscious. I know it's not practical, and I know that like it's so hard to do it these days, because even just like getting places to like process the film and everything. But I mean, I love it. I don't know. It's like just some like nostalgic, romantic part of me is like, everybody looks better on film, and the world looks more romantic on film, I also feel like it really was the right choice for this, because it lent like kind of a dreamlike quality or texture to it, which felt like right for the material.
Yeah, it felt otherworldly. I had no idea what to expect, and it really does transport you. And I just think in a way that regular film would not have. What is it called? Regular film, digital? What is normal?
High def, I guess, yeah.
But no, it was like watching a painting. It's gorgeous.
It is absolutely. Gus, tell us about the pregnancy belly that you have to adorn. And I know, Annie, you had a scene with that too, so.
Oh, no, I think they tried several stomachs on me beforehand, and the first one they put on me, maybe we shot something with it, and they were like, wow, you look way too pregnant, this is not gonna work. And I don't know how pregnant I'm supposed to be in the film. Maybe I think like 6 months, 5 months,
6 or 7, something maybe.
She's pretty pregnant, so I don't know. No, I really got close to that thing. It was like a belt that they put around me, and I mean, it felt, weighted blankets, how they can like, make you feel really secure. It was nice because I was just wrapped up in there, and I felt, no, I mean, I think by the end I was probably really done with wearing it, but it does kind of put you in that state of like what it must be to be pregnant. Your back hurts, and it's this added weight you're walking around with. So, I mean, maybe in some ways I was method because it was on me all the time.
Well, it's excellent. I do have to remark, one of the best things is you two meeting the twins. Because I don't know, those two actors, it's not. I'm trying to remember because I talked to Ted like long time ago. I couldn't remember if it was twins or just one person.
No, it's one person.
One person, right?
Yeah.
It was just so adorable, and in my head I kept on thinking there were like actual twins on screen.
Yeah, they did such a great job of making it look real. You know, like I will say, I don't know about you guys, but I was like on set, I don't understand a lot of the like technical side of it, especially like with film. And I was like, wait, how is this supposed to work? Like had no idea, but it was like we would shoot every scene twice, once with Judith as Nina 1, and then once with Judith as Nina 2. She was amazing. I was like bowled over by how incredible she was.
Yeah, I was in awe of her because I said it was pretty much one full night that we did most of her scenes. So yeah. Most of that was shot at like 4 a.m. and going in and out of the same costume, and never once complained. Never once was like, can I have a break? She's amazing.
Also, like, I mean, I will just say, because like a lot people ask a lot, like, how do you memorize all those lines? And I always think it's kind of a silly question, but I did feel a little bit with Judith, like, Judith, how did you memorize all the lines of each scene? But not only that, but no, this character says these lines and this character says these lines. And she was so on it. I mean, we were never like, I feel like she was like at 4 a.m. was like more up and energetic than I was, you know, and I was only playing one part.
So with the film like giving birth to a butterfly, what is the love for both of you towards indie films?
I mean, I know, well, I feel like Gus can relate to this because she comes from a theater background too. You know, like I feel like indie film and theater have a lot in common in that like you are not doing that project to like get famous or make money, or you're doing it because like you love to be an actor. And probably most of the other people there are in the same boat because like, you know, it's like, you don't know what's going to happen with a movie of this size, you know what I mean? And so the only reason to be there is because you're like, I want to be here. I think this is a really cool project and I believe in it. And that just isn't always the case on larger, you know, more money type projects, you know? And so for me, I will never not do indie film, and I will never not be a part, because it's like, it is what reminds me like, oh my gosh, I love being an actor. Like I love doing this, and I'm just doing this not for any other reason except for that it's really fun to do.
Yes, it's a much more personal experience. I know with this film in particular, we had like 2 weeks to rehearse or something before, or maybe a week. And even just having that, you know, Ted take the time to sit down with us and really walk us through these characters and the connections with each other. And it felt like a very collaborative experience that you don't necessarily get on a set that has all these producers and people running around and the budget's crazy. And it's just, and I totally agree. You know, the egos are much more in check on an independent film. I think people are there because they love the work, not because they're trying to be a movie star.
That is true. Well, let me wrap it up with our always a standard question of what's next.
I have a movie coming out at Tribeca on Saturday called Eric LaRue. I hope it will do well. It also has Paul Sparks in it, which is kind of crazy. We've never worked together, and then now suddenly we've done like 2 movies together, as well as Judy Greer. It's Mike Shannon's directorial debut. I really love it, and I hope that people will also love it. And then I have a film called 3 Birthdays that the wonderful Jane Weinstock shot, another indie, with Josh Radnor, that is making this festival circuit. And I'm going to be doing a film this summer directed by Alan Brown that is about modern dancers.
Also, Annie and I were both in Three Birthdays. I totally forgot when you were talking. I was like, this is another film we're into, but we had nothing to do with it together. So,
Gus, I have to say, like, when I said that, I was like, I didn't, because we didn't have any scenes, but
no, we never had any
scenes together.
No, so I am in that, but I'm doing a play right now at it's called The Sign in Sidney Brewstein's Window, and it's on Broadway at the James Earl Jones, which has been wonderful, and made me fall in love with acting all over again. But and then I have a film coming out on my birthday, July 27th, on Netflix. It's called Happiness for Beginners. It's kind of like a romantic comedy hiking film with Ellie Kemper and Luke Grimes. And that's really cool. And then the second season of my show, Shining Veil, comes out in the fall. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, 3 birthdays, Annie.
I know, Gus, we should now like pitch a movie together. Be like, look, we have to like freeze the charm. We have to like get another one going.
That is true. One more time.
Yep.
Annie, Gus, it's a delight to carry this conversation with you about giving birth to a butterfly. Thank you very much for talking to us about the film. Thank you.
Thank you.